Good afternoon to all of you. Today we are going to discuss on the lecture design of questionnaire. We'll discuss what we understand by questionnaire, and while designing a questionnaire, what are the steps we have to follow in. Questionnaire is an instrument which contains a set of questions which the respondents have to give the answer, and the questionnaire is basically used in case of experimental research as well as survey research. So in this lecture we'll discuss on what we understand by questionnaire, and while designing a questionnaire, what are the steps we have to follow in order to make a questionnaire effective, and finally we'll discuss about an example of a questionnaire, how it looks like. So this is all about the lecture today, what we'll discuss about. Now let's discuss what we understand by questionnaire. We'll discuss about questionnaire design. So what is questionnaire? A questionnaire is a set of questions normally we ask to the respondents in an interview to get with an appropriate instruction indicating what questions are to be asked and in what order. And normally these questionnaires we use in different fields of research like survey research and experimental design. And basically it serves four functions which enables the data collection from the respondents, and which lends to a structure to interview, provides a standard means for writing down answers, and help in processing the collected data. Questionnaire design is a process of designing the format and questions in the survey format that will be used to collect the data about a particular phenomenon. And in designing a questionnaire, we have to look into different stages of the design as well as the implementation which should be considered. So these are the different elements what we normally look into, like the determination of goals, the objectives, and the research questions. Second element we look into like what are the key concepts we have in our research. Then third, the generation of the hypothesis and the proposed relationship. The choice of the survey mode, maybe in email, telephone, face-to-face, internet. Fifth, the questions we are going to construct. Sixth is sampling. Seventh, the questionnaire administration and data collection. And eighth is data summarization and analysis. And ninth is conclusion and communication of results. So when we look into the questionnaire design, normally we go for the steps in the questionnaire design process. Like first step, you convert your research objectives into the information needed, and specifically it specify the information that is needed for the study, and basically we are looking into the primary data source. So the first step is what is your objective, and depending on objective what information you require. So it has to be clearly specified. Second, the method of administering the questionnaire. The researchers should specify how this information or the data to be collected. And the main methods we have like personal schedule, like self-administer questionnaire through mail, fax, web-based or internet, etc. So this is first step. We look into the objective, depending on the objective what information is required. Second is about how the information will be collected. Third, what will be the content of the questionnaire. In this step we decide what matter to include as questions in the measure, and the decision to include or not to include certain questions depend upon certain criteria. So what will be the contents of the questions in the questionnaire, which one to be included and which one not to be included, so you have to decide. And here the researcher might formulate a number of questions which he thinks address the information need of the study. Means you have to look into that what information you require for the study. Depending on that you have to formulate these questions. Fourth, motivating the respondents to answer. The questionnaire what you are preparing, it should be designed in such a manner that stimulates the respondent to give the confirmed information regarding a particular topic under the study. So they have to be motivated so that they will be able to give the answer. Fifth, you have to think about the type of questions. Like here we can have open-ended questions, we can have close-ended questions. So normally open-ended questions are being highly unstructured. The words, logic and structure are provided by respondent and not by the researcher. Like suppose example, I ask what is your age, the question I like suppose Nescafe, because here different words, logic and structure will be given by the respondent, which is not being specified by the researcher. Here we talk about close-ended questions. Both the questions and the response format are being structured, whereas in case of your open-ended, it is not being that structured. Like here we can have dichotomous questions. Dichotomous questions has a restrictive alternative and provide the respondent with two options. Like suppose the question you are asking, like are you diabetic, yes or no. So we have two options here. What kind of cola do you drink, like diet and suppose normal. So have you read the new book by John, yes or no. So this is the dichotomous questions which you can have in your questionnaire. Similarly, we can have multiple choice question. The person gives a number of alternatives. From that is what the respondents will be selecting. Like, will you consider selling organic food products in your store? So option like definitely not in next year, probably next year, undecided. So these are the multiple choice questions what you can frame in your questionnaire. Similarly, we can have the scale. So where we can go for like a Likert scale, where we want to go for agree or disagree about the different objects. And sixth step, like the criteria for the question designing. So in this step, the step 6, what we have, like translating the questions identified into meaningful questions. Like you have to clearly specify the issue and you have to use a simple terminology. You should avoid the ambiguity in the questioning. That means there will be no double standard meaning. And you should avoid the leading questions. Leading questions provide a clue for the good answer. You should avoid the loaded question. Loaded questions explore answer to the sensitive issues. So look for few examples. Like suppose, will you take dowry when you get married? This type of questions is what is incorrect. Do you think most Indian men would take dowry when they get married? This is the correct way of asking the questions. Sixth, avoid double-barreled questions that have two separate options separately. Do you think Nokia and Samsung have a wide variety of touch phone? This is incorrect. You can ask the question like a wide variety of touch phone is available for like A, Nokia, B, Samsung, C, both. Seventh, questionnaire structure. The question has to be put in a particular sequence. The instruction will explain the purpose of questionnaire administration and introduce the respondent, the research objective. Simple questions which do not require a lot of thinking or response time should be asked first, and then it will build a tempo for answering the more difficult or sensitive question later. So you start with a simple question, then you go on giving the different questions which are having more difficult or sensitive questions. Sequential order has to maintain in this questionnaire structure, and acknowledgement will be given at the end. 8 stage, like physical characteristics. The questionnaire which you are preparing, okay, the quality of the paper on which the questionnaire is printed should be good quality. The font style, the spacing, the color should be uniform. It has to be maintained. Then 9th is what? Pilot testing of the questionnaire. It involves the testing and administration of the designed instrument on a small group of people from the population of the study. So when you design, before implementing that questionnaire is what? You start a pilot testing, where from you select a group of people from the population under the study and you go for the testing. These are all like in the 10th is what we have administrating. The final instrument is ready for the conduction and the questionnaire needs to be administered according to the sampling plan. So here is what we have different websites like surveymethods.com, then www.jumairang.com, www.sawtoothsoftware.com. These are the different software which help you how to develop a questionnaire, and through these websites also is what you can get the data from different sources. So these are all the different stages in designing of a particular questionnaire. Okay, and we have discussed what we understand by questionnaire and why we are going for a questionnaire, and if we are designing a questionnaire for the data collection, so we have to look into different stages, and these are the steps in the questionnaire design process. And here we'll look into a different sample. Let's look into that. Okay, how a questionnaire looks like. You see this question, okay, the questionnaire, like how it is asking the name, respondent, age, occupational studies. So these are the questions which is a example or a template. Like, do you consume milk and milk product? What is the frequency? This is an example of a questionnaire, how it looks. Another example, like the questionnaire study on consumer satisfaction of Patanjali product. Like, suppose you give the name, gender, you have open-ended question, you have close-ended questions, you have dichotomous question, you have multiple questions. See the example how the questionnaires, how frequently do you purchase like these products, okay, how the questionnaire is being designed. And this is about the scale, like you ask the scale questions, like here is what in this question, and they have used a Likert scale, like strongly disagree, neutral, agree, strongly agree. So the respondents has to give the answer regarding the agreement and disagreements of the objects, and how satisfied you use the Patanjali products and all those things. So this is all about the questionnaire, what is questionnaire, what is the stages in designing a questionnaire, and this is one sample, okay, regarding the consumer satisfaction regarding Patanjali product and consumer satisfaction regarding different products. Hope you understand what is questionnaire and what are the different stages in designing the questionnaire. Thank you.